10 steps I take to stay in alignment. Why is alignment so important? Well, you ever feel like you're on that hamster wheel? You can't get off it? It's because your intentions aren't aligned with who you are deep down. So I run myself through a whole bunch of steps on a constant basis so that I can stay focused on what's important to me. And that starts rewriting those files of what I believe and value. The first thing I do is I create a vision board. A vision board and a vision statement. I write out my vision, my 3 to 5 year vision, where I want to be, what the big picture is. And I read that vision. And I get all of my senses involved. I get really detailed in writing my vision. I'm going to put right up here somewhere the segment I did on writing a vision. And I write that vision to be emotional. I write that vision to remind me of what my true intention is in life. Mine, help 112 million people become aligned. I believe that you're only one alignment away from your version of success. That alignment can come through one thing I say. It can come through a conversation. It can come through an email. It can come through a book. I believe that all you need is that one domino to knock all the other dominoes over. That's my vision. The next thing I do is I set goals. The goals remind me of where I'm going also. I have that big vision. I take a step back now. How am I going to accomplish that vision? I set my goals. Again, another one's going to pop up. Fast car goals. I set goals because goals create that roadmap to get me to where I'm going. I then prioritize those goals. Jim Collins says if you have more than 3 priorities, you have none. That's pretty heavy because I always felt like I had so many different things to do. How do you decide on what your 3 priorities are going to be? It goes back to your vision. What's your vision? My vision right now is to help 112 million people. So one of my goals is to do a video a day for the next 100 days. I'm on day 32. This is 32. So that's a priority of mine, right? Getting content together, teaching people through my videos is how I'm going to help the world. I want to create freedom thinkers. If I can get you to be aligned in something I say, if something I say triggers something and it brings you into alignment, if I can get you into alignment, then you're a person that's going to start thinking for themselves. You're not going to be influenced by what society lays on you. You're not going to be influenced by what other people, family, friends, bosses, tell you should think. Hell, the NASDAQ just came out with, if you want to be listed on our exchange, you have to have a diversity person, and it's like 4 different people, right? It's a woman. I don't know how just being a woman allows you to get onto the board of a company. I thought in business, you took the best people, you brought them together so that you could crush the competition. Can you imagine if we said, Major League Baseball doesn't have anybody under the age of 15 playing baseball, and every kid's dreams to be a Major League Baseball player. So let's go. Let's put somebody, let's make a clause that says every baseball team has to have a 10 to 15-year-old on the field playing ball. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. If that individual, right, if that, they use women, minority, LGBTQHRWXYZ, and if you don't have somebody on your board, then you have to explain that off. Like, what? How? Just that person. We're not taking anything else into consideration. We're just taking the title. How does that qualify somebody to be on the board of a company? It's insanity. Anyway, sorry about the soapbox. Prioritizing your goals. Jim Collins says if you have more than 3 priorities, you have no priorities. So what are you going to prioritize? What are you going to make your 3 priorities? Right now, I'm running on 2 priorities. I'm running on living a healthy lifestyle, so tracking and watching everything I eat. And my other one is helping 112 million people come into alignment. When they come into alignment, they become individuals that can think for themselves and then make decisions for themselves, not make decisions based on outside forces. So prioritizing my goals. I break down my goals into milestones. So sometimes I'll look at my goals and I'll become overwhelmed, right? Like I'm looking at things and I'm like, I want to accomplish so much. How do I break this down? Visions, 3 to 5 year goals. Annual goals, that's 12-month goals. Then I contemplate my golden question. And for me, that golden question's, how do I get from where I am now to where I'm going? Where I'm going to the 12-month goal. And how I do that is I decide on what behaviors I need to adapt right now. And then on the daily level, I list out the 3 actions I'm going to take each and every day that's going to move the needle. Those 3 actions align with the behaviors that I have to start adapting. And through those behaviors, habits get formed, and then those habits ultimately are what is going to achieve the goals. And then I'll crush my 12-month goal. And that will build the momentum to start taking down the 3 to 5 year goal. I create kind of like a daily, some people call it morning routines, evening routines, time blocking. I create a daily cadence is what I do. It's a daily action plan, I guess. And that daily action plan is kind of like a marching band. Think about it this way, a marching band, right? You've seen the Thanksgiving Day parade, and the marching band's like everybody's in line, everybody's in sync, they're all twirling the same way. It looks absolutely phenomenal. That's what the daily action plan does for your mindset. It gives you that cadence. It's a cadence of actions that you need to take. That's what a morning routine does. Morning routine is, what am I getting done today, and get me into that routine, that thump, that rhythm, right? I can get into the zone. I time block sometimes. I don't time block in, all right, this hour from 11 to 12, and then 12 to 1, and then 1 to 2, and then 3 to 4. But I'll time block in my mornings, are where I do all of my focused work. It's when I'm at my best. So my mornings are reserved for my focused work. And then if I have to take a meeting or a call or a podcast interview, if I'm traveling, I do all of that in the afternoon. So I kind of time block, right? I do large blocks. If time blocking doesn't work for you, then I suggest getting into some type of rhythm. Time blocking is about having that rhythm so that you can get things done in an orderly manner, really. The other thing I do to stay in alignment, right? The next thing I do, I don't know, probably on 5 or 6 or 7, but the next thing I do is I do an alignment check. Darren Hardy taught me this. Darren Hardy taught me a technique to really hone in and stay focused. The first thing I do, actually, before we get to Hardy, the first thing I do is I'll sit down and I'll journal and I'll think about my week. I'll think about how my week went. What went right, what went wrong, the lessons I learned, the people I need to reach out to. And I'll do like a brain dump. I'll get all of that out. And then Darren Hardy taught me this, I think he calls it a Sunday audit. You can look it up, but essentially what it is he lists out his 3 priorities. He then writes under each priority the actions he's going to take on that priority for that week. And then any other action that comes up goes into a category he calls the Devil's Vortex. And the Devil's Vortex is all those actions that do not help move the needle towards one of your priorities. How many times during the day, during the week, are you doing something that's consuming your time but is not focused on one of your priorities? That's Devil's Vortex work. So when I'm looking to do content creation, when I'm looking to put videos together, if I'm off on a social media scrolling, because it happens to everyone, I'll be in social media, I'll be going like this, I'll be like, oh, wait, Devil's Vortex. And it reminds me to get back to work. I stay flexible. What do I mean by that? When life smacks me in the face, I stay flexible with it. So I have kind of my cadence, right? My cadence is I get my focused work done during the morning. But Mike Tyson says everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. It happens to all of us. We all end up getting punched in the face at one point or another. I don't allow that punch to throw me off my game. Fires are going to happen. I call them hand grenades all the time. Hand grenades go off all the time. This is one of the reasons why you'll hear in a lot of success books, right? A lot of social media, they all say, oh, you got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning if you want to be successful. I call bullshit on that a little bit. The reason why they're saying 5 o'clock in the morning is because 5 to 9, the rest of the world's sleeping. So the hand grenades aren't going off. 5 to 9, there's a very small chance that punch is going to come and hit you. That's why they say 5 o'clock. I say, if you're not that morning person, as long as you could put together anywhere from 3 to 5 hours, a block of 3 to 5 hours, where you're not going to get punched, then go with it. If that works for you. When I was 20 years old, there was no way I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It just wasn't happening. But what was happening was I'd stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning. Like that was, I'm just a night person. I worked midnights and I worked the third shift my entire life. It's when I was at my best. So it's funny now that my focus time now is in the morning, right? I've done a complete 180. But find that block of time that's for you. And when you get hit in the face, because it will come, it's like riding a bicycle. You fall down, you get up, you brush yourself off, right? Brush yourself off, get back to work. Just know it's going to come. And the best way I've found to combat it is I try and get those 3 things done as early in my day as possible. So that when the day opens up and the punches come, it's no big deal. There are times where the punches come early. And I'm up till 10, 11 o'clock doing my focused work. And I'm like holding my eyes open with toothpicks. But that's the deal. Like that's the grit. That's the grind. That's what they're talking about. Grit and grind. And just pushing through. That's what they're talking about. I eliminate distractions. This is big. This is how I stay in alignment. I stay in alignment because if I can eliminate distractions, I can really ultimately make my focus block really, really focused. There's a study out of UC Irvine, and they found out that when when there's a disturbance in your routine, my phone goes off, I have to check an email, a little thing pops up on my laptop screen, and it's a Facebook message, whatever it is, somebody rings the doorbell, whatever it is, that distraction costs you 23 minutes. It takes you 23 minutes to get back into that flow. It takes 23 minutes for you to kind of remember what you were doing, how you were doing, and getting back at it. What's interesting about this is there's a method out there called the Pomodoro. The Pomodoro method. It's a method in which you use 25 minutes to do focused work. You set a timer, 25 minutes to do focused work, and then you take 5 or 10 minutes off. Then you go back, do another 25 minutes, 5 minutes off, a third session, 25 minutes, and then you take like 15 or 20 minutes off, 30 minutes off, but you take a longer break. What I found interesting, though, is that the Pomodoro method, right? 25-minute segments. So when I have a distraction, I'm losing an entire focused session. Think about how much you could get done if you had 25 minutes and you were just working on whatever it was that was going to move the needle. If you were just working on your priority. Eliminating distractions is a really big one to stay in aligned, because as I eliminate distractions, I get more achieved in a shorter time frame because I'm working very focused. I'm working in flow. I'm in my rhythm. I'm knocking shit out. And then that allows me, when I do my Sunday audit, that allows me to look back and say, oh, I crushed it this week. And if I can crush each day, and I'm focused on, oh, I crushed today. Oh, I crushed today. Oh, I crushed today. It starts pushing that negativity out. We talk about that too. Like, how do I get my thoughts? I have 80% of my thoughts are negative. How do I reduce that to 70%? I do that by concentrating on my wins. I build wins by doing focused work. It's all one big cycle. I stay motivated. Visual reminders. This wall right here is the biggest vision board I have. But it's reminders of what I'm doing, right? We spoke about the wall. Each of those signs, it looks like a staircase going up. It's climbing up a mountain. Somebody's at the top of the mountain pulling you up. It's my responsibility to pull the next person up, etc., etc. Visual stimuli, vision boards. Vision boards. We're going to do vision boards. We create a vision board, hang that up, put something on your phone. I want to live here. I want to live on the coast. That's my dream. I grew up on the coast. I want to go back to the coast. That's my wallpaper. My wallpaper is the coast. So I physically went to Florida. I took a short video of the waves coming in, rolling in on the beach. That's where I ultimately want to end up. Visual stimuli. It keeps it front and center in your mind. Another visual stimuli, Post-its. Right? I used to have it here. Okay, I used to have a Post-it that reminded me. I hit on it all the time now, so I took the Post-it away. But Post-its, right? I have a package of Post-its here. Write it down. What do I mean by that? How do I use a Post-it? If I want to build broker relationships, I've said this before, I'll write brokers on a Post-it, and then I'll put the Post-it all over my house. My wife laughs at me. My kids make fun of me. My wife actually, my wife actually changed. I was doing a session where I really wanted to pay attention to how I can leverage my time and my knowledge. So I wrote on Post-its all over. Actually, hold on a second. I'll show you. This is the only one that's still left, right? I wrote Post-its and I put them all over the place that said, this is the actual Post-it. It's the only one that I have left around the house. I must have had about 12 of them all over the place. My nightstand, the refrigerator, opening up the cupboard. They were all over the place. And it annoyed the wife a little bit. And she always brings comedy to it. So she changed leverage to beverage. To remind me. I guess it was to remind me to make her beverages at night, right? But having that visual stimuli around really does work. It keeps it front and center. When I was going back and I was thinking about why I didn't hit New Year's resolutions, why I didn't hit goals in the past, one of the things that came up is, why didn't you complete that? Well, I'm not quite sure. Why didn't I complete that? It just faded away. It faded away because it wasn't front and center. Tony Robbins says, where your focus goes, energy flows. So, where are you going to put your focus so that your energy can absolutely crush it? Guys, we live up here in the numerator, not down here in the denominator. Go out there and be unstoppable and crush your day. Guys, I love spending time with you. Have a blessed day.